Hello, Charlie.
Hello.
Hello, Ollie.
Hello.
And welcoming back the one and only Harry. Hello, Harry.
Hello.
How you doing?
Yeah, not too bad. You guys all right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we just had a nice little discussion about Pet Cemetery to warm ourselves up. Charlie was shitting his pants last night.
Still is.
But today we're going to do, it's episode 7. I can't believe it's already episode 7. It's actually came really quick. We had four in the bag and we kind of, we're slowly running out again. But yeah, episode 7. And being this close to the ultimate award ceremony, we thought we'd revisit a film that became the first ever foreign language film to win an Academy Award for Best Picture. That's right. We are discussing Parasite. Not only that, but we're edging ever closer to the director of Parasite, Bong Joon Ho's next highly anticipated film, Mickey 17. So there's no better time to have this discussion. And I feel like we'll have a little chat about it afterwards because all that's been released is the trailer. And every time a trailer's released, I straight away get a message from Charlie. Charlie cannot wait for this film to be released. So I'll just do a little bit of introductory information for you. A
bit of context.
Bit of context. So written and directed by Bong Joon Ho. This was his 7th feature film following on from the likes of Memories of a Murder, The Host, Snowpiercer and Okja, I think I pronounced that right. Parasite ended its award season run with over 317 wins. Now, I'm assuming that is like some film festival that we've never heard of.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of stuff.
Yeah, it's going to be. That like Saturn Awards and people take them because they say, oh, they're winning awards on different planets now and all this stuff. But its most noticeable was the 4 Oscar wins for Best International Film, Best Original Screenplay, Best Achievement in Directing, and, as previously mentioned, Best Motion Picture of the Year. With a budget of $11.4 million, it grossed an estimated $262 million worldwide, making it a huge success all round. Do you want to quickly know what it beat for Best Picture?
Yeah, I know it beat Joker.
It beat Joker
because there is a very funny video which I have mentioned before, which I have managed to find that we are going to be watching at some point today of a man-child reacting to Joker losing. But yes, please enlighten us.
So this was the year 2020, the awards for 2020, and it beat Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, 1917, Marriage Story, Joker, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, Le Mans
66/Ford versus Ferrari, depending on which country you're in because of trademark issues or something.
And The Irishman. So they are the films, because it still confused me that there's like 10 films get nominated?
Mm-hmm.
That might be the most stacked.
That is
a stacked.
There's a couple of elephants in the room with that. There's a couple of bits we could maybe trim, but that is pretty much pretty solid.
That's a pretty solid lineup. Would you like to know who he beat to win director for the year 2020?
Did he beat Todd Phillips?
He did, yes.
I'm just picturing again this fellow that I found. Yeah,
So I'm wondering if this is because I remember a similar man-child screaming about it. I think before the win. Is this breaking contact or getting into content early here? But is this the no one's heard of Parasite? Cool.
We won't spoil any more of it because they haven't seen it. Okay. But it's unintentionally one of the funniest videos. He's like having a meltdown.
But I'm assuming that he's very serious.
Oh yeah. We'll watch it once we've done our discussion of the film. But yes, can't remember the director's name.
Yes, so he beat Todd Phillips, Sam Mendes for 1917, Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time, and Martin Scorsese for The Irishman. I mean, they're not bad. They're not bad people to beat, are they?
Sorry, who?
So it's kind of, would you say, deserving it? Because when we were having discussion about doing this film previously, you had only seen it once, Ollie, and you were a bit unsure to begin with.
Yeah, we'll get into that.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Right. Go on.
I think it was I remember, so when I saw this film, I saw it as a preview screening with a Q&A, and the person there going through the bit of up for loads of awards, up for Best Picture, and I think personally it's going to win it. And I remember sitting there and thinking, there's no way, no matter how good this is, no matter how good this is, for how much they have so rarely ever put films that aren't in the English language in the top into the top running just in general, for how much animated films don't get a nod, there's no way. So for it that it actually came through was fairly monumental.
It's the fact that it won international film as well.
Yeah.
Because in the BAFTAs it only won international film. It didn't win best film. I don't know what won best film for BAFTA, but
probably 1917.
Yeah,
I think you might be right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I agree. Yeah, it is. Well, it's the only one that's ever done it.
Yeah.
So the fact that however many was it been 70 now? 70 Oscars, roughly 70 Oscar award ceremonies.
This one's like the 74th.
Yeah. So the fact that this is the first one is a bit mad.
That brings me on this question that I like to ask when we get into discussions of singular films. Where and when did each of you first watch it? So, Harry, do you want to go into a bit more detail about your screening, and then we'll go around the room?
Yeah, I don't think there's a whole lot that interesting. I think it was a Curzon one. It wasn't at a Curzon cinema, unfortunately. It was at another cinema, you may be aware of. But yeah, again, it was, and also I'd actually seen a couple I'd seen bits of it out of context, and obviously. So this was actually a 2019 film, right? I think release, and it got a lot more press in the States first. So I remember there was a lot of talk about it, and I already knew for the most part what it was going in. But yeah, caught a preview screening of it. It was the amount of a push that that the powers that be, whoever that may be, let it have, that it was getting the preview screening, that it was getting an audience in that screen of people that you could tell hadn't necessarily, as much as you can tell or whatever, that sounds bullshit and fucking judgmental or whatever, but it's I think it is both, and we'll talk about this later, it serves as a good introductory film to a lot of world cinema, foreign film, whatever term you want to use for that. And also did feel like it actually worked as that.
It's like one of the easier films to get into.
Yeah, like it's
not got a weird incestual
it's
twist
still
on it. It's not.
It's still pretty
violent.
weird. Yeah,
but it's weird. It's got some odd moments, but it's not. It's not to the level of some other South Korean films that have previously happened.
And again, it was just so impressive to see. With the exception of the man-children who were upset about Joker, it is so impressive to see that it was embraced by people outside of the normal cachet of people that will go see a film like that.
It's been accepted by a wider audience.
Yeah, it broke through, and again, even when we get into it, this doesn't rank the highest in my list of films like this, but for it to actually have the impact it did, again, pretty monumental.
What about you, Charlie?
I'm pretty sure it was the last film I watched at that cinema chain.
One of the two biggest here in the UK. You can probably guess. It's 50-50.
Yeah.
Do you mean that the last one you watched as an employee?
No. I think just
last visit in general.
Didn't know much about it before I saw it. I think it was kind of. I want to say it was like a mystery movie thing. I think it came out as like a screen unseen thing, and then when it showed, I think loads of people left. It was one of those situations, and
that seems to happen. Sorry to interject.
Yeah.
That seems to happen at every single screen unseen I've been to.
Yeah.
And I just think to myself, if you are going with something in mind, then what's the point in going? You know that the film you want to see is eventually going to come out. Why waste your time to go in there and
block time out? What are you going to do?
Yeah.
At least a third of the film always walks out whenever I go to a screen unseen. But I'm sorry to have interrupted.
No.
you.
Yeah. When I worked at the cinema, I think we did a few, but I don't think I ever worked one, and I'm not sure what the rules are when you want a refund of that.
You don't get a refund.
You don't get one.
No, I remember doing one once because when you could see when it was starting, if you were in the projection room, you could see it. I always remember on some of them, I'd just stand projection and then count to see how many people, or have a guess at how many people would leave. And sometimes it'd be literally 10 people would literally just, as soon as the title card came up, stand up and just go.
Yeah. So, that was where I was saying I saw bits and pieces. I saw bits out of context. I was doing screen checks on that. And I'll also take this moment to shout out, again, impressive that as many people stayed for it as they did.
Yeah.
Because again, I was expecting them to walk out the moment subtitles come up on screen. Also, shout outs to whoever decided a screen unseen should be The Death of Stalin, because a lot of that crowd were not there for fucking
Wasn't that the
Russian
same year?
comedy. That would have been
Or
I think it was more
2018.
2018. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that was the year before.
So you watched it screen unseen.
Screen on scene.
Were you on your own?
I'm pretty sure I was with Shannon, and we looked at each other and kind of we watched the trailer and thought it would be interesting, stayed, and fucking loved it.
Mm.
I think I've watched it a few times after release. I watched I watched it in black and white, which changes makes the tones in the film more serious in black for some reason. Yeah, loved it.
You're not going to believe this, but obviously I'm a massive fan of South Korean film. Old Boy is has always been in my top 2.
Mhm.
It's never left. And I actually didn't get to see it at the cinema.
Because I'm now remembering I bumped into you before I saw it. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I think
Because
so.
I think I got off of a shift and then you guys were in. I was like, I'm going to see Parasite. I was like, I really want to fucking see that.
Yeah, it was.
And then for the next 2 years, I was like, have you seen Parasite yet?
Yeah,
Dan, you seen Parasite yet?
And then I saw it, and then I watched it on home release on my Todd, on myself, and then rewatched it this week. I had to watch half of it because I then you can do it. Go on, go for it. That's the ASMR you're talking about.
Hang on, are we mixing coffee and Fanta?
Yeah,
It's
maybe.
Ollie's thing
the
is
choice we're making.
Ollie's thing is that he never ever records without a can of drink on him.
It's not even 9 a.m. yet.
And then I had to rewatch it in 2 sittings this week just due to time constraints and
The little one, not a big world film fan then? You've
No.
not quite got them into South Korean cinema just yet?
No, not just yet. At 20 months, he doesn't really, he
Ah.
can't read at the moment.
He'll get there. It's all good.
But yeah, what about you, Ollie?
Well, my boy was 18 months and he was actually watching Tetsuo the Iron Man. So, and he gave me a thesis on it. And
I would love to know how many listeners actually know that film. What you just said.
I watched it in a really similar. I watched it with a Q&A like Harry
I
had.
think I think we spoke about it. It was probably the same one.
Yeah.
Or like
And
different showing of it,
yeah.
but the same.
it was broadcast by satellite, or at least they build it
I
as
think
that.
that's the one that's on the extras on the home release.
Yeah. And I was just as excited for that as I was for the film itself. And much to my annoyance and many people in the screening with us, it didn't work. It broke within a few minutes of being on there. So I sort of, that left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I know it's not the film's fault, and it's not his fault at all. But I just remember coming out of it being a bit sort of like bummed because I was just as excited to see what he had to say, and also because that was my first sort of like ever interaction with something like that in a cinema, like a Q&A with a director. But yeah, and then I watched it literally last night. I borrowed your Blu-ray, Dan, because I thought I had it on Criterion because it's one of those annoying things where it has been released in Region A and you can get it in any Barnes & Noble for like $18, but over here they haven't even announced a release yet. So I thought I had it. Because I did a big thing over the last sort of 2 years where I imported loads from America and bought a multi-region player. And I thought Parasite was one of the ones I had, but it wasn't actually. So last night was the first time I watched it since cinemas.
Very good. Right, well, with that, shall we get on to it? I mean, I didn't know where really to start with this because there's so much. Well, let's just say I don't think this episode would have happened without Harry, because Harry's been chomping at the bit to get stuck into this.
To bring the curtains back a bit, this was like one of the earliest ideas I think we had for this podcast, right? It was literally first like talking 5 years in the making, right? Because it was over lockdown. Yeah, it was over lockdown.
No, because you were allowed in my house.
No. The very first thing though was one we did over again, completely off topic. We did a group chat over like
It Follows. Even before that.
Over lockdown, your like first message to me, I think, was the first lockdown. It was like a month into that of like I want to do a podcast.
I've got an idea.
I've got an idea. But
I'm here to talk to you about the Missing Scene podcast initiative.
I do feel like Nick Fury.
He's even wearing a beanie.
I didn't really know where to start with this. So I think probably should we start with just kind of describing the families and.
That's
Well, I'll
probably
give a
good-
synopsis. I'll do a
Yeah.
synopsis. I'll read a little synopsis. This is because to find a synopsis that's either more than just one line and quite vague,
Mhm.
or is 3
Yeah.
pages long, is a bit difficult. But this guy Nick Reganis did one for us on IMDb.
That sounds like a Sopranos character.
It does, doesn't it?
No
actually?
offense to whoever this guy is, but that sounds like a character that would show up in one episode and like have a fight with Bobby or something. I don't know.
This is the film synopsis. So, jobless, penniless, and utterly hopeless, the unmotivated patriarch Key-take, I believe is how you pronounce it, and his equally unambitious family struggle to make ends meet by working for peanuts in their dingy basement-level apartment. However, their luck changes when their college-age son Ki-woo seizes a golden opportunity. Entirely unqualified, he has the nerve to pose as an English tutor for the wealthy Park family's teenage daughter, and now the sky's the limit. But as they adopt a winner-takes-all strategy and launch a silent class war, the question arises, when it comes to parasites, how does one get rid of them?
Maybe disagree a bit with the unambitious. I think we'll get into the
yeah,
early
definitely. With that,
scenes
I
of this.
definitely,
Like, don't know if we watched the same film there, but
They're definitely not unambitious.
Yeah.
I think to begin with, when you first see them, I think they're not. I think they probably got the unambitious bit from the first
Yeah.
scene because, well, let's just start. So the Kim family are the family that are pretty much what you would regard as the parasites.
well,
of the film.
so this I think would be an interesting thing, maybe to start us off. We're probably cutting a lot of this
No,
to get to an actual. Okay, fair enough.
No, go for it.
Do it live. But I think it's maybe interesting because again, if we saw for those of us that saw trailers and stuff before this, as to what you thought that name was referring to, right? Because when I heard, and again, we'll get into the levels of what we think it is, but I was expecting a lot more vindictiveness, I think, from the family at first.
them to be a bit more
because of
violent
the name, because of and I think what is actually really interesting in these first couple scenes that we'll start talking about in a moment, but there is actually a very strong family unit here, and it is actually it's like wholesome in as much as it can be. They're there for each other.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that.
But yeah, so I think the name is a bit of a misdirection. Again, especially for something that has so much, that so many of the new audience are going to bring so much baggage as to what they think a South Korean film is. I think it upends that pretty quickly, I would say.
I think we're going to have an interesting difference of opinion here because when I swung by Dan's the other night to pick up the Blu-ray, Dan said to me quite emphatically and concretely that he was like, the family are parasites and they are. Yeah. So I think it's just interesting that
it's
we've got
weird
two different takes right off the bat.
When we get into it,
yeah,
it's not just them. It's not just that family that are a parasite. It's like everyone is.
Yeah.
It's like the rich family are, but then also by the way, spoilers again. But also the housekeeper and turns out the basement thing. They're like everyone in this film is a parasite.
Yeah, everyone is feeding off of each other.
Yeah, so I definitely think anyway. Well, so quick introduction. So you got the dad. So you got dad Ki-take, the mum Chuk-suk, son Ki-woo, and daughter Ki-chung. So they're all living in like what is pretty much underground basement apartment, right? It is literally ground level. They stand up, their window is level with the street where people are pissing in the street. There's rubbish, all that stuff. By the way, the bathroom is the weirdest fucking bathroom I've ever seen.
Everything is stacked up on top of everything else.
And so the first thing you notice about his family, I think this is where the guy got the unambitious bit from, is that they're worried about Wi-Fi.
Yeah,
so they're like, she's fucking put a password or whatever on her Wi-Fi, and they're trying to move around to find Wi-Fi, and their bathroom is like one level, and then it steps up to head height, and then the toilet is on the head height level, and they're just basically next to the toilet on their phone, like the son and daughter on their phones. I think that's where he got the unambitious bit from.
Yeah, but I remember a lot of people like Googling how does South Korean Wi-Fi like internet service work, because there's this whole thing like. They like get permission to use the Wi-Fi for like isn't it? It's like, or they like paid for like half an hour Wi-Fi or something. It's
okay.
It's a very if you watched it last night, you probably
Yeah, and so they are sort of like piggybacking off of, because he says
that's
to
what it
her,
is, yeah.
like, "Oh, there's a new cafe opened," because I can see there's
Oh,
a
Yeah.
cafe,
yes, yeah.
and they use that. But then later on, after I can't remember how many of them have been employed, they sit round a dinner drinking what looks like cans of Bud Light. I'm guessing it's some sort of
it's some
South
beer,
Korean
yeah.
beer. And he says, like, we're having this meal to celebrate our
Yes.
bounteous Wi-Fi. And they like do a toast, and they're all sat on their phones.
But is that kind of like a view into?
Well,
Because we're going to get into it a lot about like kind of. This is kind of a look into South Koreans' version, or like South Koreans' view on poverty
Yeah.
and people not working and like social problems, right?
within like the first minute of the film, they are desperately trying to check WhatsApp to see if they've got a job folding pizza boxes.
Yeah.
That they then get subbed for because they haven't folded them to standard, and it's
Yeah.
like it's very very unsubtle with
Yeah.
just how horrendous.
I mean, literally,
Yeah.
the first shot is them like flicking insects off.
yeah,
Yeah,
stink bugs,
stink
and he
bugs.
says keep the window open so we can get
Yeah,
free
yeah.
fumigation. when
Yeah,
they're-
and like and literally it just fills their apartment with like chemicals and stuff. It's mad.
not to make us sound like an episode of like The Rest Is Politics or whatever, but I'm sort of like woefully uninformed when it comes to
I was going to
Korean
say,
history and culture and everything. So
Yeah.
I don't
Also-
know anything about the socioeconomic background for this film. This educated
Yeah.
me quite a lot when I saw it in
Oh,
cinemas.
I think that was probably one of the points that Bong made it for.
Yeah.
Was because he wanted to show, because there's not really been a South Korean film that shows that side of South Korea, really, like as in like to such a
Mhm.
wide audience.
Yeah.
Like it's probably the most. Well, would you say it's the most popular South Korean?
I mean, it's
like kind of like is in instant impact.
in terms of instant, I'd say, yeah. Obviously, again, like we're probably going to mention Park Chan-wook quite a lot here.
Yeah.
In terms of long-lasting effect, again, I think
Oh,
Old
yes,
Boy,
yeah.
Old Boy, I think is the like a line in the sand for a lot of people in terms of, oh, I like film too. Oh, I really fucking like film.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think definitely worth mentioning. Full disclosure, none of us have a fucking clue about like we can talk about what we've googled
I think
and
you could
whatever, and
probably-
from what context we can glean.
Yeah,
But yeah,
I
if
think
you're
you
actually
could-
looking to hear about South Korea, probably speak to other people than
Yeah.
than this podcast.
I think you
This
could
podcast.
probably try. The only way we can do it is like our own experiences or what we know in England or
Yeah.
the UK. But yeah, this is definitely an educational film in how the class divide is so big. I think you see that as well from. So I think there's a couple of scenes after that where the son Ki-woo gets the job from his university mate,
Did we take his,
His
name?
school
'Cause
friend,
I
yeah.
need
his
that.
school friend. I can't remember what his school friend's name is.
Min.
Min.
Thank you.
So he gets this. So he gets this job. Go
I
on.
only watched it last night, and I'm not trying to. That's literally the only reason why I know. And when I say last night, I mean in the early hours of this morning.
So yeah, so he gets the job from his university Min due to the fact that he thinks that Ki-woo won't fall in love with the
Mhm.
person he's tutoring because he wants to go out with him, that's another funny story
Yeah.
in itself.
So I think we've maybe jumped the gun a little bit because there's one thing I definitely want to mention, which is The Rock.
Scholars Rock.
Yeah, Scholars Rock. Okay, so do any of you guys know the theory about The Rock? Did that come up?
No. So
Okay,
just
so-
explain what the Scholars Rock
So
is.
yeah, so when we first meet Min coming to the house, again you can already see the level of class divide there, and I think there is probably, they end up going out and having like a beer or whatever. What?
I was trying to do my zip up without anyone.
I think the relationship between Min and again, sorry, I'm terrible with the names here, with Ki-woo, the son, I think there's already, you can start to like almost kind of talking down to him and almost expecting him to be grateful, but Min brings him the Scholars Rock, which is and again, I didn't particularly look into the significance of this, but is passed on to him as like, this will bring you good fortune, keep this
Wealth,
in your
wasn't
house.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like the dad is really happy to see it. It's like, oh no, he's actually giving us something here, which again could be where this guy's getting the an ambitiousness from, but there's sort of as to whether it is a gift, as to whether it is pity, as to whatever it is, but it is passed on to them as very important, and he tells him that he has a job opportunity for him in this wealthy household.
He's not expecting to get the rock back, though, is he?
No,
He gives
it
as
is a
doesn't
gift.
he? Yeah.
Again, bear this rock in mind. If normally I am all for like us theory crafting our own stuff, I will say this one is a fan theory that is out there or whatever that I think there's a fair amount of credence to. The rock is important. Dwayne Johnson gets everywhere these days, man.
It's not just a boulder; it's a rock.
Did you?
Yeah. So a couple of weeks ago, I watched the Vanity Fair. They do like a thing called Notes on a Scene, and Bong says there is when the rock is given, like it doesn't really ever get given as a gift. It stays in the family's house, and it's just something that was weird that he thought would work.
Oh, so there was no point.
There's
to it.
no. It's
Is it kind of
historically like families don't
Yeah.
pass on these rocks to other families?
So it was just a.
Yeah.
So is
So
it
that
kind of like
what that says to me is that it's already maybe out of the ordinary then that someone would give someone one of these.
Yeah.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I hate the fact that you're keeping it to yourself for now, but
I
we'll
can
give
spoil
to
it right. I
give
can
it to
spoil it
yourself.
right now.
No,
That's
no,
less
no,
fun.
no.
So yeah, anyway, so he gets this job opportunity to be an English tutor because anyway, yeah. So the thing I noticed as well that kind of showed this class divide is when he goes for the job interview, his journey is constantly moving up.
Yeah.
He's going from the lowest level that someone possibly can be.
Yeah.
And it seems that he's going up and up and up, and he comes to this house where it's like electric gates, and he walks in. It's the greenest grass. Looks over. It's like he's either like in heaven or a Garden of Eden or something, and it's completely different to what he's used to. And you're walking around the house, and it's minimalist, it's spacious, and so it's just these massive
it is a different
differences.
world. Yeah,
Yeah,
it is.
and so you compare it to their apartment, which is grubby, just absolutely stacked with crap.
Yeah.
And then you go to this place where like everything is pristine. I think that geography and design and all that is kind of showing is without intentionally saying there is a class divide. It just shows us that there is.
I really love the one of the posters for this originally has it sort of laid out with the one house on top of the other.
Yeah.
And again, that was one of the things in terms of what this film actually is and, what you think the Parasite's going to be. And that was how I assumed the layout would be. Like, there's more space between them than what it ended up being. But I think, and I don't know if I maybe read that there was some use, like that this film was originally written as a play or was
It was, yeah. So it was a play,
But,
and then it was a 15-minute short, and then it was written in segments, and then it became...
Yeah, you could totally see this working on a stage, like on literally keep it in one position. But yeah, seeing that poster, people were like, oh, the people live, the person underground. It's like, first half an hour of this movie, first hour or so, I know who the people underground are. Maybe. Maybe not so much.
Did
I know
anyone...
Sorry,
no, go on.
I know it goes without saying because we're talking about the film that won Best Picture, but I last night was thinking throughout quite a lot of it just how nice to look at the film is.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Like,
it's very nice.
I know we've obviously just acknowledged how deliberate and considered it is in how it photographs the impoverished areas versus the posh areas, but particularly just like there were a few shots where they make I know it's deliberate, but I was just like they make the wealthier areas look really appealing, and I was just like I didn't realise how beautiful that part of South Korea is. Like it looked nice. I was like I would want to go for a little holiday there. Like it seemed the weather seems nice. There's greenery. Like it just seemed pretty cool.
In a weird. I think it's that culture, isn't it? Of age like Japan is supposed to be like one of the cleanest places and stuff like that. Even like where they live and the street outside, even though it's a little bit cluttered, it's still a lot cleaner.
And it's
than
like
I've seen
it's like their house, the underground,
basement
the basement house is also just very satisfying to look at. We can say like it's very weird, but there is something about
apart from the toilet. Yeah.
Again, it clicks together in a really strange way. I think it is also we get a lot of contrast from it most of my knowledge of what South Korea looks like does come from like Park Chan-wook films, which are lots of concrete, lots of
It's still a very concrect based building, isn't it?
But when you then see this like, and obviously it's going to be a reference point for any sort of film with a big ass house in it. But like when you then see the nice house, and it's got this sort of Kubrickish sort of emptiness, this very like modern, almost sci-fi building. Again, and again, like Ollie said, with a lot of greenery, there's a lot of wood in there.
It seems as well that there's too much space for 4 people compared to the 4 people that have no space whatsoever.
Again, this is not particularly, and I say this as you don't actually need subtlety. It's not a subtle film, but in terms of what it is, how it is trying to display those differences, and more impressive for it. You were saying earlier about bits being relatable. It also came out at a very good time for people starting to be pissed off about stuff. And again, I think that factored a lot into the impact that it had. But yeah, you are both amazed when you first see that house, and you can totally, again, when I was expecting the Kim family to be drawn as the bad guys per se, and as very much air quotes, as much as there is one, you would expect them to be angrier than they are. And yet for a lot of it, they are still like, wow, these, when they do meet them, they're like trying to befriend them. They're trying to, again, the friendship between Min and the son, it's like, there's almost this expecting themselves to be grateful in a way that is, I don't even know what I'm necessarily saying about it, but but you know what I mean. Like,
I know what you mean.
There's almost like the richer family are expecting them to be grateful. They're playing into that, and you want them to not be, which makes them very easy to cheer for.
Almost as though their place in life is just expected. And they are supposed to make terms with that, and that they
have accepted that. And again, when you see how happy they are to get this rock, this gift that he must have clearly done so much for, this.
You're fit to burst, man. You're gonna burst it. What were you gonna say, Joe? You were gonna say something about
the house.
Yeah.
In the first part of Did You Know?
Charlie said you know
that the entirety of the second house is VFX.
Yeah, like the upstairs.
The upstairs doesn't exist.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's all
from the outside.
It was built. The house was built as a set. The upstairs was, from what I've seen behind the scenes, blue screen.
Wow. Is there any other? I don't know if I don't know. Why I'm asking Charlie as if he's going to know. Is there any other instances of that? Because there was an exterior shot. There's this obviously reoccurring thing where this guy, this drunk vagrant or beggar, is like pissing outside their house.
Yeah. So
and they interact with him quite a lot.
Are you gonna get into the slow motion water fight?
Oh, I can't remember which one it is.
That's about mid film.
Yeah. There's a shot involving this guy that looks kind of set bound. Like, it doesn't look like an actual exterior. There's something about it that I can't quite. I don't know what it is, and it's really an insignificant tertiary point that I'm making.
Yeah, so
but there was one shot that I was like, that looks like it's either on a green screen or on a set. It doesn't look like an actual street.
Yeah. So the set, the street outside was a set, and the house, the park's house, was purpose built.
If I can maybe chime into what you were saying about the, it's like very pleasant to look at. I think a lot of that is intentional, because there is one bit of this movie where I would say it doesn't look like sets, and it does look almost documentary-ish, which I think we will get to. We'll get to in due time. But there's, again, very much when things are going well, they're going very well, and then when we see how they're not going well, they are extremely not.
Yeah, very extreme.
Yeah, like I think we all, it's very, very considered and pointed how they've made the certain areas look nice. I was just, I as someone that is like woefully bad at geography, doesn't really know that much about South Korea in general, just like I didn't realise how nice it looked. Pleasant.
So from that, his movement from his house all the way up to the Park family's mansion, its own little city for the amount of space they got. We then meet all the family except the dad. The dad doesn't come into this scene, does he? So he's gone for his interview, basically. So he meets the mum, and when he first sees the mum, she's like drunk, or she's out of her. She's just asleep on the table or something. But I think it was, I can't remember. Someone alluded to like the type of people you expect them to be horrible, but they're actually just. It's weird. It's like they're just gullible, naive, nice people that will just take the face of anything they see. Yeah. So she comes in and then does this interview, and she's like, "Oh, because you're probably not as good as him. I just want to sit in your lesson." Yeah. Then you meet the daughter, and then the son's running around playing Indians, which is another thing. The whole thing. Oh, we bought it from the US. Yeah. We bought all our stuff from the US and all that stuff. the fact he shows really easily just how different the families are.
Yeah.
Probably helps that the Park family is a younger family. But it's just the fact that they have all this, or they have all this stuff that they'll just take. It's like they've got the money. They're so rich that they'll just accept anything because we got money, so we can just deal with it, kind of thing. So from that, I can't remember what happens after that scene. After that scene is when he like goes back and he's describing to his family everything that he's like, the job, and he ends up getting the job, doesn't he?
One of the things I did like, just a tiny little bit of dialogue, when the housekeeper lets him in initially, and she's describing the background and the origins of the house, and she says, it was designed by this famous architect and whatever, and she says, and as Harry was saying, it's sort of like this brutalist, concrete, Kubrickian, almost sort of like sparse, like luminal space, and she says, as you can see now, it's become like a playpen because there's 2 toy arrows on that. There's literally 2, and she's all like angrily picks them up, and it just highlights that to them that is their level of sort of mess and clutter and everything, whereas they're literally living in, as we said, like a place where you have to climb atop somewhere just to go to the toilet. Like just a really interesting, cool little bit of dialogue that I chuckled at.
I think there's a few points to that, but another bit that made me chuckle in that same scene when he's done the lesson, and she's just showing him around the house. She shows him her son. Is it Daesung? Yeah, Daesung. Daesung showing his artwork that he'd done. He's like, oh yeah, you can read it. He's like, here's a nice little picture of a monkey. She was like, no, it's a self-portrait. And he's like, oh yeah, I can see that. But she just takes it. Yeah, she just takes it for, he knows what he's talking about, and all this stuff.
The pure panic that when he fires the arrow through the stairs
on her face.
She's almost hysterical.
There's a couple of bits like he's just a kid. Yeah. But like, so after that, so this is where it kind of like he kind of senses a bit of, there's an opportunity here, and then he gets his sister involved, and his sister, and he describes her as this kind of weird artsy therapy woman. But what's mad about this, and I noticed it was like I said, like as soon as they were all great at what they did. Yeah, what they did, they were incredible at. So it's kind of like, where's the point of where does it start? The point of I'm going to be lazy until I'll do really good things for something bad. To I'm just going to try and make a name for myself or whatever. It kind of like they've seen this opportunity and gone for it. And then this is just the next point. So when she goes for her interview as this art therapy woman, and she's like this eccentric woman who doesn't let the mum in and stuff. And then she's asking, like, did something happen to your son? And that scream she does, I remember seeing a clip of that and thinking that it was like you said, like a horror, like something horrible, but nothing horrible has happened. Literally nothing. But the scream is like chilling. Like, it just caught me off guard. And then I think again, this is where we actually meet the Park, right? By the way, how does some South Koreans have such a deep voice? That man's voice is so deep. I was not expecting it. But yeah, so then she comes in, and then the dad, I noticed something between the two families as well. Like after like the whole, like when you finally meet the dad and that, the parents are kind of opposites. So to me, after like meeting the dad and that, the dad of the Kim family, the poor family, the dad of the Kim family is kind of a little bit, he's the one that kind of starts losing focus and is a little bit, jittery, and the mum is very kind of calm and collected. And then in the rich household, the mum's a bit, scatty and and the dad's calm and collected. Yeah. So there was that kind of like nice little parallel that I saw from that as well. So you can see here clearly there's like especially when dad comes in, there's this mass difference. Yeah. In terms of families.
I'd love to know what he does for a living, because we get he works in a tech company, right? And we see him like with a pair of headphones or something, doesn't he? Yeah. I don't know specifically what his role is.
I thought he was like it was something to do with architecture, because the company is called Brick in the Wall.
Yeah, but he's
but he's to do with phones.
Yeah, he's talking to some sort of tech geezers.
I think from what I saw because I watched a couple of the like making of kind of bits, he's supposed to be a CEO of a tech company.
Okay, because it's like obviously, as we've said with the thing about the photography and mise en scène, is obviously very deliberate, but like it's so excessive at how disposable a lot of their money is.
Mhm.
Like for them to have a live-in maid and a chauffeur and to be able to commission 2 private tutors, for one of which is like a 7-year-old,
Yeah.
at the rate of like 3 2-hour sessions a week for whatever amount of money.
Yeah.
It's insane how ridiculously wealthy they are. And I
Yeah.
was thinking the
Yeah.
entire time, like, what does he do for a living?
Yeah.
Because the mum does nothing.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's all his income from it.
There is that. There was also a bit that kind of confused me, is where she's paying him for the first time, and she says, "Oh, I'll pay you a little bit more than I paid Min."
But doesn't she hold money back?
She holds money back, so she skims off the top because she knows that she can get away with paying him less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is a bit odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
Actually thinking about it. The fact, because then after that, he's like talking about, because then he talks about getting his sister. Obviously, she doesn't know it's his sister.
Mm.
But then she's like, oh, yeah, well, I'm in high demand. I need 3 times the amount I'm usually. She could literally put whatever number.
Yeah.
She doesn't know what the rate is.
Yeah.
She's just telling her it's 3 times what I'm usually paid.
Yeah.
And she's happy to pay that. So then after that, that's when, like, oh, the driver, they end. What's mad to me is that the mum and the dad of the Park family don't cotton on at all, or just really think that it's weird that, oh, this next person's come in. We've then lost the driver, but oh, they know a driver that they can have.
So I was saying this to Harry in the car, right? I kind of didn't. It's not that I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it, but I wasn't mad on it when I watched it in 2019, right? And one of the things that I found a bit annoying, thinking that I was being clever or whatever, but I was just a cynical, miserable teenager when I watched it, was how this entire film is built on a series of contrivances. And exactly that. I was just like, they're fucking stupid. This is so convenient. This screenplay is laughable. Like, how have they not clocked on how ridiculous this is, that in the space of a week they've lost their entire staff, and this
That they've had for years.
Yeah, and this miracle boy that's just showed up just happens to know a tutor from who's studied at Illinois, and then she just happens to know a driver who's worked for 30 years in the private industry, and he just happens to have a business card. I was like, this is stupid. That's the point. Like, last night I was laughing at it because I was like, they're obviously trying to show how laughably out of touch and naive and disassociated from reality this incredibly wealthy family has become. I still do kind of find it a bit of a contrivance, because you'd have to, like, again, it's implied that he is a very, very competent businessman. He's got great business acumen because he's the CEO of a tech company, and he's still not able to see just how bizarre it is that they all... I do kind of find it a little bit of a contrivance, but there is the point. They are meant to be showing how stupid it is.
I think the dad is a little bit. I think the dad is a little bit out of touch though with it anyway, because he just like, because at one point when the dad becomes the driver, they get rid of their younger driver because they find knickers in the car, and they're like, oh, we just got to get rid of him.
Yeah.
And then obviously the daughter's like, oh, I know a driver, and the driver is her dad.
Yeah.
It's not because they found the knickers in the seat. It's because he went into the back seat.
Because he doesn't like his
he's more
space.
he's more annoyed that the driver went into the back seat than
he says
than having sex in the car.
There's a phrase that he repeats. The dad, he keeps saying, "I don't like people that cross the line."
Yeah.
And he's like, I can't believe these.
Yeah.
Is it not enough to sleep in my car, but he has to drip his sperm onto my seat?
Doesn't he start did you notice he started getting like upset, like he was about to cry as he was disgruntled at the table?
Yeah.
It looked like he was about not burst out of cry, but he was genuinely upset.
I'm not. I don't think I'll ever be affluent enough to have a full-time live-in chauffeur who drives my Mercedes to work for me. But if I was, I don't know if I'd be really that bothered if I found out he was shagging birds in the car. Like exactly. I had the same thing. He seems incredible. I don't know. Hopefully I have that problem one day. I find my chauffeur on company time shagging birds in the back seat.
But like that, so I think the dad's a little bit out of touch because he's literally pretty much at work quite a lot of the time, and even at one point she says, "Oh, he's like taking time off to go to camping and all this stuff." But I think it's the he just allows his wife to kind of do what he wants, because he says, like, that's the point I was gonna make. Kim at one point, or the dad says at one point, like, but you love her, don't you? And he's just like, if you can call it love. So
he says, we'll call it love.
Yeah. So it kind of feels to me that it's he doesn't really care that much, which kind of lets him get away with more anyway. Do you kind of see what I'm saying with that bit?
So I mean, if the 2 points that I would put in here that I think in terms of the contrivances that Ollie you were saying about this, like what I was saying about this feeling almost play-like, there is a lot of this runs off the basis of like a comedy of manners. Like it's almost like My Fair Lady levels of how much you have to be, you know, so prim and proper. And again, where the line is such a different line to what anyone else's line would be. And again, you are seeing here that I think a lot of the reasons why they would allow these contrivances to happen is, again, in terms of what the titular parasite being, the rich family here fucking need these people because they could not tie their shoelaces.
Yeah,
you could not tie their shoelaces.
Because then when they get rid of, she has a great name by the way, the maid, Moon Gwang, right? So when they get rid of her, and it's like a day, and then she's like struggling to do a dishwasher, and bits like that. It does, like you say, it does go to show that they have no idea.
And so. I guess we've kind of glossed over how they get in, but they basically they scheme and whatever to replace each.
For the housemaid, they say that that was it. That this is the most elaborate way of getting rid of someone.
This is the best sequence in the film.
Yeah. So in this sequence, they pretty much want to get the Kim family want the mum to become the housemaid, and then they're all in then. So the housemaid has an allergy to peaches. So, and they are forbidden in the house. So they buy a peach, they scrape all the fuzz off of it, and then they just slowly just adding a little bit onto her skin, and that she gets itchy, and then she goes to her doctor's, and the dad follows her, takes a selfie, but he's like, oh, I was just getting my medical thing, and then he's showing the mum like, I was taking a selfie for my wife, which was the fun, like, at one point, like, you can clearly see in the photo, he's just got half his face. It's not even, and it's obviously aimed at the maid behind him. And then he's like, I hear her talking about she's got possibly have TB and tuberculosis and all this, and it's just, and then they go in the home, and then she flicks, and then the daughter flicks more onto her, and she starts coughing just as the mum comes back. And then they pour hot sauce into the into the tissue, and then he picks it up to show
his expression.
It is the reaction shot.
But the bit that really caught me off guard is when the mum, like, she's like, "Oh, come into the sauna room," and then they're like squeezing. She's like, "We need to get rid of her," kind of thing. And then he's like, and then they shake hands and like deal, and she's like, "Did you wash your hands?" And he just smiles at her, and it's just like, but that's the first instance for me of the dad starting to slip up a little bit and just losing that bit of focus. But that whole sequence, is by far the most elaborate, maddest, like, compared to the other three ways that they get rid of the other workers, is mad.
So I wanted to ask you, Charlie, because you were saying about watching the black and white version. I remember there was a poster for that where some stuff was in color, and I didn't know whether was that one where they did like that blood. Sort of, because that was the bit I could imagine them breaking that for, but I didn't know whether that is a thing, so I don't know whether they go all Sin City with it, which most of the time I wouldn't want them to, but this one I could imagine.
Just for that one bit.
I could imagine that working. Is there any instances of that in that version?
I honestly can't remember.
Fair enough.
It'd be weird for them to show a trailer
because like
it and not
it's not in the trailer, but I know in the posters or whatever, like the children's toy, there's like the ball with all the colours on it, and like little bits like that are highlighted. I could imagine if you were going to do that sort of treatment to a black and white film, that would be the scene where you're doing it, because again, it is sort of the bit when you say about Ollie on the way over here, you were saying about how much funnier it was than you remember it being. Like, it is so absurdist, it is so like farcical in the way that they're setting her up.
It's literally vaudeville. It's ridiculous. I was thinking last night, they are kind of arseholes. But because you were saying, like, at what point, I think that what you were alluding to earlier, Dan, was at what point does it stop becoming just like good-natured, opportunistic, like they're trying to get themselves out of poverty? Like, they have equally displaced like other working class people out of jobs in incredibly underhanded and illegal ways. They've also put an old woman's health at risk. Just for financial gain. This is before you get into the many instances of fraud that they've committed before this. So I don't know. It's just an interesting observation.
What's mad as well is that pretty much after they get rid of the maid, I'd say probably the next massive scene or the beginning of everything going a bit mad is this. I call it the sleepover.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So the Kim family go on their camping trip for the son's birthday, and like they're all getting drunk.
Yeah.
And they're eating and all that stuff. And the son says, like, I'm going to, like, this is their plans are getting more and more mad. But the son's like, oh, I'm going to marry the daughter. Oh, and then
he wastes no time, by the way.
Yeah,
Literally the second tutoring lesson, and he kisses
I'd
her.
even say but I think he'd had his eyes on her the first time he saw her. But he says something along the lines of, I'm going to marry her. But then it's like, well, how, when the meet parents are like, oh, I can just get 2 actors to be my mum and dad. But I don't know if that was just the drink talking or whatever, but it's just going to show that they're just thinking about the next step in keeping this elaborate scheme going.
Again, I think it's impressive that at this point you are still, and again, I said it earlier, of like they work it in a way that you cheer for them. A big thing for me when I dislike a film is because the protagonists end up completely dislikable and do awful shit, and the film doesn't seem to recognize that. It is so slapstick in this though, that you are laughing along and you are still enjoying it. And in terms of things breaking, I was saying, I saw clips of this beforehand. This drinking scene was one of the bits that I saw completely out of context as to what the rest of the film is. And there's like the scene, isn't it, where like the husband
he grabs the mum,
and is pretending to.
Well, she calls him a cockroach and says, "You're like a cockroach. As soon as you're in trouble, you just scatter away and all this stuff." And then he knocks everything over.
Yeah, and then they sort of laugh that off, but I don't think I saw that bit of it. So again, the context into how the characters are portraying themselves versus what is actually the things like getting under their skin still very much. That was an awful sentence. Apologies for everyone that heard that grammar. But yeah, you're starting to see things slip. But again, you would still go to this party where they're all like, you're still part of the family having a drink with them at this stage.
I'll tell you one thing that did piss me off. Just how obnoxiously messy they are.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, dude, like we've all had a drink and enjoyed a bit of a laugh, especially if you're at somebody else's house. But this is my thought process. I was like, even if it's somebody that you disdain, like I don't know, they're just smashing glasses and like tipping peanuts on the table and just like lying around drinking whiskey straight out of the bottle. I was like, they've been gone an hour. Like, how have you made that much mess? I made very, very scant notes. I can't find my phone, but one of my notes was just like pisses me off how much they wreck the house within minutes of being left alone.
So when they have that moment that Harrod's talking about, where he grabs the mum by the t-shirt and then the doorbell rings. Yeah, I don't think I've held my breath.
Yeah.
Sorry, the expression of that man when it cuts to her on the Ring doorbell cam, she's literally looking up. Yeah, but it's like the woman in Cat in the Hat that looks through the doorbell peeper.
So this bit made me feel. I think this is the point where I was like, the Kim family are, excuse my language, fucking arseholes. Because when she's looking at the camera, you just see her kind of face. She just looks scrunched up because it's cold and it's raining. And then she walks in, you see she's been battered. Yeah. So she must have been like living on the street something, and someone's mugged her. And you think, this old lady, they've kicked this old lady out of a job that she's had for years for the previous owners of the house. And now she's just on the street.
Yeah.
And again, I think it's fucking dreadful.
I think it is again, you could accuse this film of going into caricature quite easily, but I think it is doing it so that if you are there laughing at their laughing at the misfortune of the people they've displaced, you're then starting to think, oh, hang on a minute. Yeah. Maybe we aren't the good guys here. Yeah. Maybe,
Yeah, the whole tone of the film changes as soon as that bell rings.
Yeah. And then, this is where I kind of feel like not many, this for me is a very South Korean cinema kind of trait, is that it's the plot point out of nowhere. Yeah. So she comes into the house. She's like, I just need to get something from the basement. She's like, yeah, you can go in there. And she's showing her to the basement and making sure that nobody else, she doesn't see the others. And she's like, and the bit where she turns around, she's like, you can come down with me if you want. I was like, don't fucking go down those stairs because she's gonna do something. Yeah. The way she does it was like, smile
again, it starts building tension, and again, the change from what it has been to what it is. This film probably goes through like 3 different fucking genres in the space of its runtime, and this is from it going from farcical comedy to like
straight up.
Everything is just building on top of itself, and you can't predict where it's going.
Yeah.
Because if you can predict this, you're
It's
fucking
just-
lying.
At first, it makes you laugh, but when we finally go down to the basement with her, she's just trying to push the bookcase, and she's just really.
And
up
this
high,
is and this
really
is
tiny.
I just remember being like, what the fuck is going on? Because they just like find her just suspended
Yeah.
in midair.
And then I thought to myself, oh, there's a hidden crawl. All I thought it was going to be was, there's a hidden space and there's money there.
Yeah.
That's all I thought it
Yeah.
was. And then it opens, and then it's just a continuous camera just running
Yeah.
down these stairs. Like, where the fuck is she going?
Yeah, it's the
And it's
fucking
going
Silent
down
Hill staircase.
and
It just,
down
like, keeps
and
going.
down. And I was like, where the hell is she going? Like, what the hell is... And then she starts shouting for her husband, and I'm like, what the hell is going
Yeah.
on? And then it turns out that her husband has been living in the basement, or like in this secret passageway
Yeah.
that was it built for in case the North Koreans
Yeah.
invade them. So rich people had basements to basically protect them.
The way her husband eats that banana.
Okay. Yeah.
He's like
It's like-
intimately
But,
deep
like, he's
throating it, and
but-
it takes forever. And me and Harry once had a really, really long discussion in my car late one night about The Matrix Reloaded and how it's like
That happens
it's
a lot.
yeah. It does. And Harry Harry enlightened me that in the scene on the soundtrack, it's called the Burly Brawl, where Neo fights all of the all the
mansion
clones,
bit,
right?
Yeah.
They break the same bench twice. He kicks Smith through the same bench.
Oh,
There is like this banana is like magically regrowing as he's eating it. Like it cuts back to him and it's still going, and it's just.
And then at some
like,
point, it does make me laugh because you say that, and then at some point, it's like if you think about it, just magically regenerating. Then just shoves the whole
Yeah.
thing in it. He's like, I'm sick of this. Shoves the whole thing down.
It is like almost like again. I don't know what it is with South Korean films and disturbing eating scenes, but between this and the Old Boy Octopus, like
Oh, don't get me. Well, I'll tell you what. In the substance, the way he eats those shrimp is disgusting as well. Oh my god. Anyway, getting off topic. We could do an old episode on horrid eating habits, but yeah. So
no one wants that. Let's not.
that'd be your dream, wouldn't it? ASMR eating habits.
Did we bring clips to Sarah? Let's.
So we end up going down this basement, and her husband's there. It turns out that her husband's like on the run from loan sharks. How long's he been down there?
Looks
Quite
like a
long
while.
time.
Like he
Yeah.
is pretty entrenched. So we are at Parasite number 3 here, and this is where you're starting to think of again. What is this?
Yeah.
What is this name referring to?
So then and then she's telling the the mum about it, and the other three have made their way down this time. They're listening in on the conversation, and she's trying to tell them just like we're gonna go, just let us go and all this stuff. And then the other 3 family members fall down.
Yeah.
And then she starts recording them, and then and then after that the tables turn, and then the husband and
The family come back, right? Is that happening?
So before that, they have the Kim family on their knees with their hands in the air,
yeah.
and then the housemaid and her husband. The housemaid's giving her husband a back massage and all this stuff.
Yeah.
She's just recording them, and it's kind of like. Then this to me saw the whole. I was like, the whole basement, the whole basement living and her being horrible to the Kim family. Now they deserve it,
Yeah.
rightly so. But also, it's kind of like that kind of weird parasite-y feeling again.
Yeah.
And then then the phone, and then they have the massive fight to get the phone off because they see an opportunity to get
Yeah.
the phone off them. And then the phone rings. I'm like, you know exactly what that
Yeah.
means. You don't even need to. You wouldn't even need to see the next. You know exactly what's
Yeah.
happening. I love the way you gear yourself up for points.
Well, this is if we have any people that have actually listened to our episodes before this one, like return listeners, hello,
Thank you.
thank you so much. But this is like the least I've ever spoken on one of these episodes. It's because I don't massively like love this film. I don't hate it. It's not one that I ever want to revisit. So that's why I'm charging myself up to make this point. And it's gonna. I'm about to drop a very very refined pearl of a thought. But the the fucking bowl of ramdon looks delicious.
It looks so good.
I didn't right, so I don't know what ramdon means. I mean, it just looks like a very very
I think
posh.
it's their version of like a ramen.
Yeah, it's just like
Yeah.
it's like I was expecting it to be like some really. When I watched the film for the first time, when she called up and was like, "Oh, he the song really wants some ramdon," I was like expecting it to be some elaborate dish, but it's literally just a packet ramen with some sirloin steak put into it, and
Yeah.
it looks like it's Wagyu beef or something. It's like
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
really marbled, fatty beef. And then they walk in, and the family's like, "Oh, we don't even want it now. He's tired. He's gone to bed. I'm
Yeah.
not hungry."
I just like the mum eats the biggest fucking bowl of it. She eats the
And
whole
I just
thing as well.
looked at. I was just like, "Oh my god!" I remember watching it in the cinema and being like, "I really, really, really want that." And then I watched it last night, and I was like, "I really, really, really." So I might the nearest like facsimile to that we've got here in the UK would probably like on our doorstep would be like a Wagamama's. So I might
Yeah.
go after this, get myself a bowl of ramen.
Yeah, to continue that. So ramdon is like a mixture of 2 packet noodles.
Oh, okay.
So it's looked at as a kind of a poor person's kind of meal, but she wants it obviously elevated, so that's why she asks for steak to be put in it.
Okay, so it's not good enough. She likes
Yeah,
it, but she
and-
doesn't want to seem that that's just enough.
For those who have seen the trailer as well, there's a part in the trailer where she's just like ferociously cutting steak,
Yeah,
and yeah,
that whole scene, is
out of context now you know
Yeah.
why she was cutting it so.
So then yes,
vigorously.
yeah. So the family come.
Sorry, I literally
Child
that was
last
no. I just wanted to add that was my point. The bowl of ramdon looked really good. And I was like, I could eat that right now.
So at that point, then she's like, "Oh, you're gonna be," like, and they're like 8 minutes, and you're like, "Fucking hell!"
Yeah.
So then they end up. So they're couple of family members are trying to force the housekeeper and the housekeeper's husband down back into the basement. The mum's cutting up the steak and making, is it ramdon? Did you say? Yeah, making ramdon. The son then runs upstairs to put the diary, which is another horrible thing, is that he's just reading the young girl's diary. He goes and runs that back upstairs, and then I think they all start like hiding, and then he ties the dad, like the husband, up, and then the bit that catches me off guard every time I watch it is the housemate starts running back up the basement.
Yeah.
This is at this point the parks are back. She's
Yeah.
running, and then because you can't really see the basement stairs, it's just like a black.
Yeah.
It looks like a black portal, and the mum hears the housemaid run upstairs. She just gently kicks her back down, and then there's nothing. It's just silent. All you hear is thud thud, and then the back of her head smack that, and I was like, that made me feel ill.
It is such so much of the way that they are like tidying up is so like I'm saying slapstick a lot, but like things just literally disappearing into cupboards as quickly as possible, and you're laughing, and then she kicks her, and you're kind of laughing, and then you fucking stop laughing.
Yeah, straight away you're like, oh my.
No,
I'm
something
like, that's it.
very
Yeah.
bad has happened here.
But that was the other point. The other bit of where, like, with that whole you say about the clean, the scattiness, and then when the Park family come, again, this gets back to the kind of Parasite bit to me, and especially what the mum calling the dad a cockroach. They literally scatter like cockroaches.
Yeah.
One hides under the table, one hides under the bed, and the dad just hides like in the basement.
Yeah,
and it kind of it's given that kind of parallel.
again,
of
it plays into that caricature very well without
Yeah.
necessarily ever fully like agreeing with the rich people looking down on them. They still play into like again, it's very visually effective the way that everything moves in this movie.
Which is funny considering that, like, if you think about it, they all have to varying degrees. The mum goes without, so the Kim matriarch goes without saying, but they all have to varying degrees justified reasons to be there. So they could have just said, "Oh yeah, I left some equipment here when I was doing tutoring earlier," or the driver's like, "Oh yeah, I just came to do the oil and tire pressure on the car." But they come up with this elaborate running around, like, hiding under the table.
I wonder if like
they could have just firmed it and gone, "Yeah, sorry, we left something."
I wonder if it was more
Just
the fact that you don't know how late it is at night, really, do you? Either you don't know how late it is at night. They've all been drinking, so they're just shitting themselves. They've just found a random fucking guy in the house. They're trying to. So I think it is just literally panic stations. One of the point, actually, I missed it. On one of the points when they're having that conversation around the table, like there are some really nice quotes in here that you're like, that's fucking mad. Like the mum says, they're all talking about the part about Mrs. Paul, the mum of the rich family, saying like, oh, she's so nice, and why is she so nice? And then the mum's like, well, if I was rich, I'd be nice. And it's just like, being rich doesn't make you nice,
Yeah.
kind of thing. You just should be nice, kind of thing. And it's like little quotes like that showing that parallel is just, that was just a point I wanted to quickly shove in. And then they all end up escaping, don't they?
So
But
before,
go on, sorry.
or before the escape isn't, because this is, and you're mentioning
there's
the
that
back rub. Every like instance of intimacy in this movie is just fucking grim. Like,
Actually, I forgot about it. Before we get on to that bit, there's a bit where the dad's still in the basement with the housemaid's husband.
Yeah.
And this is where it gets weird and freaky. This is before the woman's kicked down the stairs.
mm-hmm.
Is he starts headbutting those lights to do Morse code.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this guy is actually not mentally. And he just...
Yeah.
I mean,
and that gives me that kind of weird, horror-y kind of vibe. That it's just... And he's just headbutting. You're like, how
it's
long has he been
unsettling
doing
from
that for?
the moment that you meet him because she's feeding him. When I first saw this in cinemas, I thought he was her son who might have had some sort of cognitive or learning disability because she's feeding him by a bottle and then feeds him
it's
banana.
it's like a baby bottle, isn't it?
And then you see him. I don't know whether the implication is that he does have some sort of handicap or developmental disability, or maybe he's just been down there for so long. Like Harry said, he's too far gone by this point. But what's interesting and what I liked about that scene was just how, like, the Kim patriarch, I'm really sorry for using these terms, but I can't remember their names and I don't want to try and butcher the pronunciation of these really beautiful South Korean names with my horrendous ham mouth. But he's like, why the fuck are you doing that? And he's like, well, I do it to thank him for feeding me and housing me for like
respect.
He's and it's so bizarre. He's just fucking head-butting the light switches as he comes up the stairs.
Everything that happens in this basement is just desperate and awful to look at.
I think what was horrible as well is so the dad ties. I'm just going to call him the housemaid's husband to the pole.
Mm-hmm.
And then and then his wife and then the housemaid wakes up after banging her head and tries to with her teeth, and then she goes over to the beach. She's like, I think I've got concussion. And then he's there tied up in this dark basement watching his wife die.
Yeah,
and it's like it's just
fucking grim. Like again,
grim.
I knew that there was genre changes in this. I remember being in the screen going, "Are we doing a horror movie now?" Because it is so unpleasant, and again, things changed so quickly from the tone that it was like 20 minutes prior to this.
I think we glossed over a little bit that quote that you said about the Kim mum saying, I think if you could surmise this film's mission statement and its ruminations on class and social standing and how it equates to morality, if there is a thing, and if you had to condense it and coalesce it into one phrase, I think that quote is it. If I was rich, I would be nice. And just the farcity and bizarreness of that and the way it's delivered and who it's delivered by and in what context, that quote is so pivotal to what this film is talking about and
so
discussing.
They can keep justifying what they're doing despite the fact they're getting more and more into absolutely unjustifiable.
If I was rich, I would be nice too.
It's mad. There's another quote as well that comes in a little bit that I think is just as, not so much a quote but a conversation that is just as like pivotal. Yeah, I was gonna say pivotable. Anyway,
you're actually thinking of Pitbull.
Dale.
So it's left with the housemaid kind of dying with the husband tied to just that horrible scene, and then they all end up they're scattered. This is the other point you're saying. So this is just. It's just awful again. So the three family members except the housemaid are hiding under the coffee table in the living room, and the son's outside on the tent, and they're like, "I will just sleep on the sofa." And then the dad starts. Don't do that move when Charlie's staring me like that. So Charlie just gave me. I'm gonna be seeing that for in my. No,
I'm not even gonna say it.
There was a gearing up and then a gearing down.
So the mum and dad are then laying on the sofa and he just starts Mr. Park just starts rubbing her nipples, and then it starts getting intense, and then he's obviously starts getting more intense, and the things that he says, do something about the cheap panties.
Yeah, they're
You-
like role playing as them,
as
and it
poor
is-
people.
Yeah, and it is just.
Yeah, he's like, like those panties that I found. Like, would you wear? And she's like, yeah. And then she says, "Do you want to buy me drugs?"
Yeah,
Whilst he's fingering, and it's just like, is this how rich people really perceive? They're getting off
Yeah,
on
it
poor
is-
people's struggles.
is-
It's mind.
It
Watching
is one of like the least pleasant. Like
it's horrible. Scene.
just this gross, just there.
And the Kim family have to be underneath
Sitting
there,
there listening to
listening
it. Yeah.
to them talk basically about how their situation. Obviously, not that like, you never see them do drugs, but like, and the other bit.
But this is how they're seeing them.
yeah,
yeah.
And then they talk about the smell of poor people
while they're also like fucking on top of them.
yeah. That makes me like that way you talk about the smell of the driver.
Yeah, and
then
that
the dad
crosses
just
the
goes,
line. Yeah.
Just under the table, just like don't
And you can
smell like that.
yeah,
And he
you
just
can
sniffs
see
himself.
that like insecurity again coming
Yeah.
through.
It's like that whole. It's just that whole scene from the sleepover to when they finally escape is just insane.
Again, any bit of them where if you are watching this movie, like actually, I feel kind of sorry for the rich people. This bit is like, no, I don't.
I feel like one of the points of this film is that you feel sorry for them, and then they get to a point where you don't,
Yeah.
and then you meet other people that
Yeah.
you feel sorry for, and then you get to a point where you don't,
Yeah.
and then the people that you think, oh, I've got to like these people, you really
Yeah.
don't. There
Yeah.
is nobody really. It's an odd film to have a film where there's in the end there's no one you really like
Yeah.
or are
But
rooting
it also isn't like, again, with the exception of, I'd say the rich couple here are very much painted in a bad light. It also, again, it doesn't look at anyone all that judgmentally, for as much as a lot of people, we'll get into this being like a film about class war or whatever, and again, the way that, sort of, that divide had become, again, without turning into a politics podcast all of a sudden, that divide has become sort of bigger and bigger over the years, both as this film was releasing and in the years since. It isn't necessarily, you would expect it to be a lot more, and so the poor family here are the good guys and the rich family here are the bad guys. In introducing sort of the reasons to dislike the poor family as well, it is a lot less judgmental and a lot more just watching this wildness that has come out of a shit situation that keeps turning into a shitter situation.
I want to talk about how you said that there's not really any likable character. Like, there's not really any character in this that is I would say is 100% ethical from start to finish, and they all, to varying degrees, come off as like you said, degrees of unlikable. I think maybe that's why I've never really 100% taken to this film. I'm not in any way trying to imply that it's bad. Bong Joon Ho is a genius, and this is a really, really, really well-made film. And I have to acknowledge, obviously, the cultural and language barriers that are there that might be stopping me from enjoying this fully. Because obviously, I am not a South Korean, and I don't make a big habit of watching a lot of international cinema. I don't, and I'm conscious of that. And that's, I think, the case for many people in the Western world. I'd love to. I just don't really have the time or want the means. It's not really shown a lot in our cinemas. Doesn't really matter. For whatever reason it is, I've not really been compelled to revisit this film a lot. And I don't think of it as much as I think of some of the other sort of Best Picture nominees from that year that we were talking about. And I think this might be one of the reasons. Just because
it's bleak.
It is.
Or
It is incredibly bleak.
You see a little bit of light in some people, and then that's extinguished straight away because something happens that is morally wrong.
Yeah,
I think, unironically, my favorite character is the song. Just because he's just
he's
this
so
little
innocent.
fucking maniac running around doing these shit paintings, and his mum's like, yeah, he's an artistic genius. Yeah. Like, literally, he's the next Mozart. He's a child prodigy and everything, and it's like, dude, they're just fucking finger paintings.
Yeah.
and then within like minutes of the second tutor session between the older sister, she's like, he's faking it, right? He's just he's having his mum for a ride. That little boy,
he just stares at the clouds for 10 minutes for no reason.
just runs around playing cowboys and Indians, painting his shit, finger paintings, doesn't have a care in the world.
Go on. So after the sleepover, the next scene, it kind of is 100 miles an hour for like quite a bit of the film.
And so it's already raining at this stage, right?
It's-
when she
it
comes
is
in, it's
hammering
pissing it
down
down.
rain. So they've
Yeah.
come back because everybody's camping
Yeah.
site was flooding. And then the dad, the son, the daughter, obviously the mum, new housekeeper is left at the house. But they then are running home, and it is just a river of water.
Yeah.
And the more they go down, the river gets worse and
Yeah.
worse and worse. And then they end up finally back home, and obviously their home's just flooded. And you're like, do you feel sorry for them at this point?
So are we ready for it now? So did anyone notice? When you see the house flooded, anyone notice what the rock is doing?
Yeah.
It
Go on,
floats.
Charles.
The rock floats. It's hollow.
It's fake.
It's fake.
Yeah.
So
Ooh. Is it floating?
Yeah, it floats. It floats in the water. So that is when spoilers for how this film ends, dude gets fucking domed and doesn't die.
Oh, it's because
'Cause
it's
it's
hollow.
fake.
Yeah, I should have.
So-
Because when I saw him, I was like, his head should be like
Yeah.
fucking.
So
flat.
so this like very ceremonial, very important rock that all of this because of how nice his friend is to get him into this. It's all bullshit. Guy doesn't give a shit. He bought a shitty tourist attraction, came to the family and was like, "Here you go. Here's this thing for you," and it's a piece of hollow plastic.
Is it hollow?
Yeah,
Is it?
It floats.
Yeah, it floats. Yeah.
I don't remember it floating. I thought we picked up from under the water.
No, it floats.
I didn't pick up on that detail, but
I
I will
know
obviously
what
take your
part-
guys' word
I
for
know
it.
what part you're thinking of.
What part am I thinking?
It's
When he puts it in the river?
It's fast forwarding it straight to the end, but we'll get there.
Okay. Well, yeah,
We're
explain when we get
practically
there.
at the end anyway. After the flood, it sort of goes to the birthday party, doesn't
There
it?
is one more thing I noticed about the run home was where did they get their shoes?
Were they wearing shoes?
No, because she cuts. They're all not wearing shoes when they're sat
Yeah.
around the table drinking.
Oh, but
Yeah.
the son's wearing shoes, isn't he?
the son
that's
is
what you're
wearing.
saying, yeah.
The son's wearing shoes.
Yeah.
They're all wearing shoes.
Mhm.
And I was just like, where did they find?
And
where
what-
did they
what-
put them? Because if they would have put them near the entrance,
They would have
Yeah.
been.
they would have
seen.
been seen.
It does make me laugh that
But-
when they're escaping and they sit up halfway through the night, and then you just see the bottom soles of the dad's feet in the dark,
and you-
and then you just see him.
Yeah, and during the run home, you also see the kind of space between the two houses.
Yeah.
Yeah,
'Cause
it's
it's
a
kind
long
of
distance, isn't
it's
it?
sort of not alluded to how physically far
Yeah.
away the houses are,
Mm,
but they start their descent.
yeah.
And yeah, the flood sequence was the bit I was talking about. Of this is the bit that looks almost documentary-ish, especially the bit after that when they're in like it's a gymnasium or whatever that they're using to get everyone that's been affected by the flood.
Yes.
Yeah. That doesn't look fake in the way that a lot of the other stuff in this film does. But yeah, again, like it makes a really good as the flooding is coming in, it is literally like horrible amounts of rain.
Yeah.
Like,
But like even like their toilet is fucking thrown up like this
Yeah.
black sludge,
yeah,
and it's just exploding. It's dreadful.
Yeah, but yeah, like that, and like the amount of wires and stuff that make up the street. Like you've got
Oh, he gets
telephone poles
electrocuted, doesn't he?
everywhere. Yeah, it's like it's hell on earth on the
Yeah.
way down there.
I think that's one of the tipping points for the
Yeah.
dad in what happens
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah.
Which we'll get on.
But again, everything is
Yeah.
now gone for them.
yeah,
They have literally, they
nothing.
have like 5 minutes ago had everything, and
Yeah.
now everything is fucked.
So then after the flood, it's the birthday scene, but there was a part in the prior to the birthday scene in between where they're prepping and the mum's like, oh, we're gonna have a birthday, we're just gonna invite people, you don't have to buy them stuff, just come around, and then she calls up the daughter, calls up the son,
Yeah.
she's like, oh, like, do you want to come around with stuff? And when she's driving around with Mr. Kim, and he's driving around, and then you just hear the conversation she's having on the phone. You see the rich people don't have a clue what has
Yeah.
happened in this flood. She literally says something along the lines of, "That rain was a blessing. It got rid of pollution and brought a blue sky."
Yeah.
And the dad's sitting there like, "You don't have a fucking clue what's
Yeah.
happened, do you?" That thousands of people are probably uninhabited.
Yeah.
And all she cares about is that, oh, we got a nice blue sky and there's no pollution today.
Yeah.
It's mind-bogglingly mad that they literally have no
Yeah.
idea about a mass flood that has happened.
Yeah.
Um,
And again, them having to basically sit there and listen to that, and again, that they can't break that for their own like machinations or whatever.
So yeah, so after that, like she's got all the stuff and like the cake and all that stuff, and is it they're starting to feel a little bit guilty about what's happening, right?
Yeah.
The daughter is especially.
Yeah.
The daughter's feeling guilty about are they all right? And the dad's like, I tied them up downstairs and all this stuff. But nobody knows if the mum's all right.
Yeah.
And at that point, we don't know really either.
Yeah.
So then you could tell the son isn't in the right headspace as well, and he brings a scholar rock with him, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So then he starts making his way.
Well, again, right, he grabs it because, as far as he knows, it's the important thing that they have to hold on to.
I completely forgot to mention this. When they're in the flood, he grabs the wife's silver medal.
Yes, yeah.
From like a shot put thing, but
Yeah.
again, it's like a silver medal, so she didn't win.
Oh, okay. That's nice. Yeah.
So
I wonder, actually, out of everything that he picks up that, doesn't he?
Yeah. And it's kind of filled with water.
Yeah.
And
So is he picking it up as like a sentimental?
well, it's
this
the
is
high,
hers, or is it because
it might
it's
be the
silver?
highest achievement that they've had, and it's silver.
That's mad.
Yeah, I'm a big believer in everything in this film is
There's
done
a point
for a
to-
reason.
Yeah.
And that's a perfect
Yeah.
example. That's okay. Yeah, that's showing me something different. So then so he picks up the rock. He starts making his way downstairs. Everybody else is in the garden because they're playing cowboys and Indians, and the daughter's about to carry the cake out because she's going to be the one, and then Dae-sung's going to save her, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But so he starts making his way downstairs, and this again was that whole area of the house is just horror film.
Yeah.
And he's making his way downstairs, and then he drops that fucking stone. But actually, coming back to it, that stone probably should have broke, right? Because it travels a long fucking way. So maybe that's another point of this. It bounces. I mean, now you say it. So he drops that, he's like, fuck. So then he's creeping down, and then he turns, and then he sees like the head of the housemaid, but it's like turned away, so and then he's walking over to her, and then you just see this ring appear over his head. I was like, just stop looking. Like anyone in that situation is not being as slow as that person, or even going down to the basement. And then the husband like drags him with that the strength to just and just runs him to the other end of the basement and locks him into the pipes.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting. So after that, the guy picks up the rock quotation marks to smack his head in, but he dodges it, and then he starts running up the stairs. I wasn't expecting the son to get caught and have his head caved in. And again, it's the way there's no music, there's nothing. It's just he catches him, hits him, and then it's just silent. And then the dad drinks a shit ton of plum juice, and then you just see him smack him on the head with it again, and his body just switches. It's quite disturbing to watch.
It's interesting that for again, I think we'll get into again coming from our history of watching Park Chan-wook films and whatever, what we think South Korean cinema is, on what it at least means to people in the West or whatever. But up to this point of like, it's surprising how much it hasn't done this, what my expectations for what this film's going to be. And then it fucking does.
Yeah.
then it goes 0 to 100.
Not to be crass, but my only other note in my phone that I made last night, and I was sleep deprived, was that this film really made me want to try plum extract with honey. Because I was like, that sounds really nice. When the initial housemaid is like, yeah, I'll make you some plum extract with honey. I was like, I want that. That sounds really good.
A point I forgot to say about the housemaid's husband beforehand is that he's been smacking his head on the light to get help, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Morse code,
Yeah, in Morse code. But then his face is like forehead's like caved in for it. He's just been smacking his head the whole time.
Yeah.
But then and then he grabs a knot, and then after he's caved the son's head in, he grabs a knife, goes out to the party where they're about to blow both heads. There's families out there, there's kids out there. And he just runs up to the woman and just stabs her in the to the door and stabs her in the chest. This is the housekeeper's husband, stabs her in the chest. And then afterwards he tries attacking the mum. I think so. Then he's trying to attack the mum, and then the mum gets this big fucking barbecue skewer and skews him in the side, fucking does him in. And then, but all this time that it's happening, the dad's holding the wound on his daughter. Yeah. And then I still don't think the rich family, obviously because it's all going mad, they haven't clocked that. Yeah. Why does he care for her so much? Or why do people care for this girl so much? And it's because obviously her family. But the dad's just going, throw me the keys.
Yeah.
All his son's done is fainted,
Yeah.
right?
He's seen the...
Yeah, but he's not seizuring. So beforehand they said he was having a seizure and you have to get into 15 minutes. But that time he wasn't having a seizure. He was just fainted.
That shot of the basement dwelling husband coming up the stairs.
When he pops up, yeah.
My God, it caught me off guard last night.
Where it's just really slow and you just see the top of his manic eyes.
Yeah.
And that was after... I don't know if we mentioned this before we started recording or not, but Charlie watched Pet Sematary last night, and I saw it on his Letterboxd and Googled the Zelda character from Pet Sematary. So I'd already shipped myself up a little bit, and then this shot of him with his like eyes bulging out of his forehead, just like creepily coming up the stairs, and that's the ghost that they've been referring to. The incident from the where he had a traumatic experience, and she's bullshitting, saying her art therapy skills are able to decipher that this small black patch in the corner of his piece, his composition, is actually is making her privy to his schizophrenia from a traumatic experience, which I think is great. Like improvisation from her. It's a great little bit of writing in that. That earlier scene, but the fucking image of him coming up the stairs is really, really scary.
Especially because it's silent as well.
Yeah.
There's not a lot to it. It's literally just that image.
Yeah.
So then and then the dad just asking for the keys. Where are the keys? Where are the keys? And the dad and then Kim's just like staring and just frozen. But then they go under the housekeeper husband who's been skewered. And then he looks and he's like, "Do I know you?" And he's like, "Respect!" And he's like shouting respect and all that stuff. And then the keys are under him, so he moves him. But then, as the dad grabs the keys, he like pinches his nose because he doesn't like the smell of him.
Yeah.
And then obviously that in Kim's head, he's gone, this guy fucking smelling poor people, whatever. And then just runs over to him and just stabs him.
Yeah.
And then it's just the whole scene is just chaos.
Yeah.
And then the dad runs away and then it goes, and then it's like, is it 7 months later?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And at that point, Ollie, I remember when I was speaking to Ollie about this, he said that from that point he thought it was too long. And he
that
did.
Was my,
your original thought.
I said to Harry in the car, sorry, I was a bit away from the mic there. It sort of plays like an epilogue.
Yeah.
The ending.
Saying after that it's been 7 months. The son survived, the mum survived, but the daughter's died.
Yeah.
And the dad is missing.
Mm-hmm.
And nobody knows where he is. And then it conspires that he basically ran back in the house and went into the basement and locked himself in the basement. Yeah. And what a horrid way to end is that the son sees the Morse code. Yeah. His dad's doing Morse code and he deciphers this letter.
Yeah.
And then the son writes him a letter, and then it's the son goes to university, becomes rich, buys the house, and then his dad walks out, and then turns out it's just what he wants to happen, and then he's like, but until then, and then it just goes back to him in his old home basement dwelling, and then that is it. Yep. I was like, such a bleak ending for the dad.
Yeah,
but he probably deserves it.
Yeah, it's again interesting parallels I think between that and again, Will mentioned it a lot, but Old Boy, the idea of being locked in a room, that this is, which I think in the Spike Lee one, that is how that one actually ends, is he goes back into confinement. Not that the Spike Lee one is very good.
I've not seen it. I don't think I will see it.
Okay, well, I think that is the ending, is instead of the like,
what, him cutting his tongue off and...
Oh, yeah, instead of the asking to be hypnotized and then you get the shot of like wondering whether he knows or whether he doesn't know or whatever. Instead, he just takes himself out of the equation and locks himself in the room. And I think there's a very similar idea there in terms of just like, I'm now more, the best thing I can do for my family with everything that has happened is to just not be here. But yeah, the ending is, again, I do think I agree with Ollie. It feels like an epilogue. It feels like another bit that feels kind of like a different film. Kind of like a post-credit scene, which, hey, we might be getting onto in a minute. But, I don't 100% know if it works for me. Again, I think it also just looks a bit like it's shot differently and just has a different feel to it. But yeah, the kid survives because he was concussed, not actually fucking brained. Because probably a fake rock. Probably all of this has come from bullshit.
This is getting on the level of episode 1. Logan.
Yes, and the energy drinks. This is what I do. I just come in and scream conspiracy theories.
So when I get it back off Ollie, I'm just gonna look at those scenes of The Rock and
Yeah.
be like,
So
Yeah,
that was what I was gonna try and do, was be like, pause it at this moment and you
Yeah.
will see it floating.
So
but-
could you, Charlie, explain to me what you were going to say about The Rock when I
Yeah.
said about
So
it in the water?
in the epilogue where he's having like the dream sort of when he's looking around the house when he's bought it, he puts the rock in the pool and it sinks.
That's why I'm confused.
yeah, because
Yeah.
that's the bit where he's
'Cause it's
dreaming.
a dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he still thinks it's a
Damn you-
real.
Damn you, Bong, for for tricking me. But yeah, that's what I was. That's why I didn't. But then obviously when I said about the rock falling down the stairs, it bounces.
Yeah,
Mm.
it bounces. It doesn't kill him. It floats in the flood. The really nice gift that, you know, from the one nice rich person they had.
He's the one nice rich person's basically giving it him as a gift, as if to say, "Can you do this for me? Here's a gift." But actually, the gift
it's
is
literally just something
rubbish.
he picked up from the airport on the way in.
And I don't think we acknowledged that the only reason why he's doing this to begin with is
So
because
he can also bang the daughter.
It's because he's grooming this teenage girl and knows that
Doesn't see him as a threat.
Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
he's implying that his friend is flaccid enough in all meanings of the word to not make a move. It's just
Flaccid enough.
grubby, and
Yeah.
that's what I mean. About
she's
this
not going to
having-
go for him because he's a basement dweller.
Yeah, or that
Mm.
he doesn't have the impetus or the rigor. That's the thing that comes up again, a reoccurring word to make a move for himself. But again, it's a teenage girl who's still at
Yeah.
high school
Yeah.
or whatever.
Because
There's nobody likable in this
They
film.
Yeah.
they even say, didn't they? They even say, "Oh, I'm going to wait for her to
Yeah.
join, and then I'll ask her out."
Yeah.
Because he knows that he can't ask her out now. Yes, the whole film. When you look back and you talk about it, I love it. I really like this film. It's right up my street. I put it up there with some of the other kind of like Asian films that have come out and like, but it is fucking bleak. I think it's as bleak. I'd probably say it's as bleak as Old Boy in terms of from beginning to end what he goes
Mhm.
through. It's
I mean, it's a very different film, but it presents itself differently as well. It's bleak, like the bleakness of Old Boy sort of seeps into every bit of, again, grey concrete and dark,
Yeah.
dank scenery that film
and
is shot in.
outcomes and
So much of this is like bright and like, again, pretty at a lot of points, despite something clearly very, very bad at the core of it.
I wanted to just clarify. Dan's gonna laugh because I have a sort of, there's like a bit of a reoccurring joke between me and Dan that on these podcasts, because they end up being so long, I say something and then backtrack on it or whatever. That's not what I'm doing. I just wanted to clarify. Earlier on, I said that I don't watch a lot of foreign films, but obviously I didn't mean that literally in the sense that I disdain them or actively avoid them or that I don't enjoy them. I literally made a reference to a Shinya Tsukamoto film at the start of the movie. We at this table watch a lot of foreign films. What I meant was Nature of the Beast being here in the UK. They don't often get released. It's
No.
quite difficult,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's just the nature of the beast. You watch more films in your native language than others, and that's what I wanted. I wanted to clarify. I don't want people to think that I was some xenophobic, intolerant arsehole like this fella that we're going to watch in a little while. I still haven't forgotten. We are going to
we
watch
need
this
to do that now.
meltdown.
Yes, that's-
This dude reacting to Joker losing to Parasite.
Just quickly, I just wanted to make the point that like I really do hope, and I think it has. I really hope that, or I hoped when it happened that when Parasite won for best film overall, not just international film or in the foreign language, that it would hopefully mean that more people watch these types
Yeah.
of films. Because I really like, there is nothing like this.
Yeah.
There is nothing like Old Boy. I know some people aren't going to watch Audition but there's nothing like Audition.
2 copies of it, still never seen it.
There you go. So like
Still in
these
practice.
types of films, although are bleak and possibly extreme, you probably won't experience anything like that from like they're very unique. These types of films.
I will raise one point. Sorry
Okay,
to cut
carry
in there. But it was a point that I wanted to make. Is also though, I do think it is worth mentioning that there is then also the worry, and again, expecting when is this going to turn into a South Korean film, that it does end up defining a little bit what South Korean cinema is, and obviously you can find people far more versed in this and far more knowledge about this than I have, but there is also other stuff out there that isn't this, that isn't Park Chan work.
This
That
is what
is
I was going to come on to say.
Gentle.
I
I remember, and sorry to share the story without saying beforehand, but I remember when I let you drive my car and you were like expecting the violence or something from then.
Yeah.
It is, again, great for the extremity that you get in these films. There are also films like, and I'm sure I'm getting the order wrong here, is it Spring, Summer, Winter, Fall, and Spring Again, which is like
Yeah.
a South Korean movie that is about meditation and is very gentle. There are Korean dramas. There are stuff. Again, this makes a very good. I think I'm probably in the same position in terms of how much I like this film as you are, Ollie. Of like, I appreciate it a bit more than I enjoy it. I do think it is a fantastic movie. I think it is a very good introduction to what this is.
Yeah.
But also, I implore you, as much as if you ever take anything that I fucking say on this podcast seriously, which please don't, but if you do, it should be, watch as wide a berth of stuff as you can.
Yeah.
If you like this because you like it being violent, that's sick. There's a lot of violence out there in these films for you. There's also a lot of other stuff. Park Chan-wook, who I've said about a lot, made a romantic comedy. It's not actually a romantic comedy, but it's out there,
This is what I was going to say. There is a part of me, cynically, I had 2 points to make. That was maybe thinking as maybe the Academy did this as some form of atonement, rather than as a genuine recognition of this film's quality, and rather more an apology for the fact that we haven't recognised films of this standing, like different language and foreign culture films before. I'm thinking, like we discussed with people sort of maybe saying that if Demi Moore wins Best Actress, it's going to be in recognition of her entire career rather than this one performance. Maybe the recognition of this film as a Best Picture win was maybe. But there is a cynical part of me that thinks maybe the Academy Board were thinking, shit, it's pretty bad that this is like the 69th Academy Awards or the 70th Academy Awards, and this is the first or second time that a foreign film has been nominated for Best Picture. Did that play or influence people's votes maybe more than the quality of the content itself? I hate to use the word content in relation to films and art, but that was just a thought that I had. I don't know whether I necessarily agree with that, but I was thinking maybe there's a cynical part of me that thinks maybe that influenced this film winning Best Picture. The Academy wanting to sort of pat themselves on the back, being like, yeah, we've given this foreign film
Which
Best Picture.
seems to be happening a lot. We're not going to get into it because we talk about nearly before every podcast, but especially with these Oscars, it kind of seems that that's happening a lot more now.
There's no real way. Like, that is something that you are only ever going to go into conspiracies
And
about.
speculation,
right?
yeah, exactly.
You can't actually determine what is good faith or whatever. Even if that was the case, again, they fucking earned it by this stage, because that you can nominate a film for the best international film. This film has the best film that you can watch in English, and then it doesn't even get a nod in the best film. Is like, what the fuck are you talking about? Again, how can you have the best animated film and that not by some archaic fucking like idea that some old man in an office has decided doesn't even qualify to be in consideration with the same, with the English language films. So even if it is cynicism, I say, Bong, take that cynicism, take those trophies, take those laurels, and fucking run to the hills and make Mickey 17.
And
good shit.
And on Mickey 17, because I feel like that's Parasite wrapped up.
No, I
Is
wanted
there
to
something you wanna
make
say?
a
Go
second
on then.
point. I wanted to really double down on what Harry said and say that I think there is. I don't want people to think that we necessarily group one particular region or language with one particular trope or genre or style. Like Harry said, I don't like the idea of people just thinking that Korean films are these bizarre, gaudy, ultra-violent films, and that Japanese films are these ultra-sexualized, fetishized. I'm saying it a lot less eloquently than Harry said it, and I'm basically just double downing what he said. But this was something that I had in my head throughout the entire discussion, and like, I'm really grateful for Harry saying it a lot better than I am butchering my point now. But like, I wanted to reiterate that we don't endorse any of that train of thought. That again, that is quite a Euro and American centric point of view. That I love films from Korea, and then the only films that you actually like are these 10 films that everybody has seen. That they are all these ultra violent, gaudy, disgusting. Like that's a really reductive way at looking at foreign film.
Yeah, there is,
because we've spent a lot of this just talking about Old Boy and stuff like that, and there is a lot more to Korean, South Korean cinema.
There is so much out there.
Cinema.
Enjoy the stuff you enjoy. Always know that no matter if you are watching a film, you have not got everything from that culture from the film. No matter how many of the films you've watched, there's going to be more to that culture than what a film can ever show you.
Thank you, Harry, for saying it 10 times better than I just tried to.
You know, enjoy the stuff that's out there, appreciate the stuff that's out there. Don't fucking fetishize it, because that's gross. And probably go listen to a podcast of people with some actual knowledge of South Korea talking about this South Korean film. Once you're done listening to us, obviously like and subscribe first. But
give us money.
But probably find some better voices than ours.
No, Harry. I feel like we're very
best.
good at comparing, and like you two have just done one eloquently, one.
I don't know if I've ever done anything
If,
about
if
eloquently.
you can put a list of 5 films that people should watch, we can always put those in stories and stuff as well.
Yeah,
Again, my biggest failing would be that I am as guilty of it as anyone else. Like, I can put Drive My Car in it, and hey, we can talk about Drive My Car someday if we want to talk about 3 hours of people being sort of sad and depressed and smoking in a really, really pretty sob. I don't think anyone would do that. But again, we are. For me, I do not feel like the quality. As someone who does watch as much foreign stuff as I can, I'm not the voice for this. Find a better voice, man.
Well, I say this pretty much every week when we come to talk about anything. As Charlie and Dan know Harry, pretty much every week I say, to a certain extent, like, who am I to say this? Like, I've never made a fucking film.
Yeah.
The extent of my filmmaking knowledge is a handful of things that I might have made with my friends or one project in uni. I have absolutely no qualifications to be speaking with any authority on any of this at all.
Yeah.
I haven't published anything before. This is just the opinion of 4 friends who like films.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So I completely agree, Harry, 100%.
And on that note, Mickey 17. So Bong Joon Ho's next film, which the date keeps changing. What's the date? April 19th? Or has it come to March?
March
Is it now
now, isn't
March?
Should be the
again?
17th of something. Surely they're missing the
They're
opportunity.
missing the
here.
opportunity. So that's his next film, which could not be any more different to what we've just talked about, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
Do you want to give us quite a little description of what we've gathered from the trailer?
Robert Pattinson plays an expendable who kind of gets reprinted every time he's sent on a mission to die. Which
When you said Robert Pattinson plays an expendable,
doing another
you got the
well, you know, it's me, Annie, and Rob.
which couldn't, as you said, couldn't be further away from Parasite.
And the trailer's really it's a good trailer. It's a decent trailer. It doesn't give too much away. It looks funny.
Well, I think you can still see like the genre clash here, right? You can see the very strange sense of humor which comes through Parasite, comes through Snowpiercer, comes through that, like, there is a eccentricity which fucking Patterson looks like he's leaning into all the way, and I'm 100% here for it. But again, is my worry, I think, coming. So this was the first Bong movie that I'm shortening it to that because, again, I'm just my Western tongue is just going to fucking ruin it. But my worry coming to it is I always kind of worried that a lot of his films would be a bit boring for what they are. I know the first real instance of me being aware of him as a filmmaker was Okja, which was the Netflix one, and everything about that film felt very... Again, as someone who hadn't seen it, it looked very much like it was being pushed by Netflix as a very acceptable thing, as something very easily watchable. And turns out it isn't. Turns out the dude is eccentric and beautiful, and we need more people like this.
Other than Snowpiercer, Mickey 17 does look like the most accessible of his films.
Yeah.
I'm going to piss you all off. I'm not excited for it, and it's a fucking rip-off of Moon by Duncan Jones. I'm sorry... expendable dude working on a planet in outer space doing really dangerous missions, getting cloned. That is Moon by Duncan Jones, which is a
Moon, man.
Sorry.
It just ruins.
Isn't it also the same kind of plot line as Oblivion with Tom Cruise?
Never saw that.
Yeah. Which I always really annoyingly have a Mandela effect in my head of thinking it's called Live Die Repeat because they put that all over.
No, that's the other one. That's Edge of Tomorrow.
Oh, well then that is the same thing because it's a really similar... That's got a really
Live
similar...
Die Tomorrow is basically Groundhog Day.
So really annoying thing about this, completely going into a tangent now. about the title of Edge of Tomorrow / Live Die Repeat.
Sorry to interrupt you, Harry. Charlie's pulling a really bizarre face.
Because he can't believe that you're not looking forward to Mickey 17.
Yeah. No, I was exaggerating. I am looking forward to it. I love Robert Pattinson, but I'm a massive champion of Moon, and I was just like,
I thought Charlie's going to jump across the table.
Sorry.
Moon is fantastic, source code fantastic, and he also made World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
But no, to get into the Edge of Tomorrow thing, a point that I will always raise. That film basically had two titles. It was called Edge of Tomorrow and it was called Live, Die, Repeat. Yeah. The name of the manga it's based on is called All You Need Is Kill, and that is so much better than the other two. Like that. Like,
All You Need Is Kill.
Yeah, call it that. Yeah. Like, how did you get that wrong?
There is a sketch of a Scottish comedian talking about the title to There Will Be Blood that is really similar. It's like, it's a great title for a film. There will be blood.
Right, so we're all excited for Mickey 17. Well, I'm excited. Yep. Charlie's excited. Yeah. Harry?
I am a Patterson truther. Like, hell yeah, anything.
I want to just see it for him doing a weird voice. Yeah. Like I'm not as excited as you two, but we'll go to see it. Yeah.
Right. Is that pretty much it? Is there anybody have any more thoughts or anything they want to add?
I'm good.
Yeah. No, thank you. I think we've spoken the hell out of it. Nearly 2 hours long.
Right. So a couple of plugs for you. Our Instagram. Please, follow us. It means the world to us. Anybody that follows us and can follow our journey on this. We are a start, but we're all pretty much full-time workers. We've put our own money into this. We've spent a lot of time doing this, and we just like the fact that we get to sit here and get away for a little bit and just talk about what we love. So anybody who wants to follow us, please do, and just see how we're getting on and listen to our podcast. So Instagram, we're at The Missing Scene Pod. On X, we're at Missing Scene Pod. We all have a letterbox. Harry, do you have a letterbox?
I do not have a letterbox.
We'll
I probably should do it.
We'll get Harry onto letterbox. But so Charlie, your letterbox is
C Westwood, I believe.
Ollie,
OJB in all caps.
And I'm just Daniel Jeeves. And
Harry's is pending. We're going to get
we will get
Booga, one of us.
And you can listen to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. We release every Friday. Around 6 p.m. But also, we might chuck in a cheeky we already chucked in a cheeky midweek episode on Nosferatu, and Dracula, the history of Dracula. That was very intriguing, by the way, Ollie, because you took us on like a historic journey of Dracula, which was great.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. So yeah, follow us, listen to us, and
loads of links in the link tree.
Yeah, link tree, and we're gonna keep saying it until
it stops. I think it's 200. Is it 200,000 signatures now?
We're talking about the Prince Charles Cinema, by the way. Again, if you haven't signed it, the petition, please sign it. We're gonna keep going until it's saved.
It's in jeopardy of closure if you're not. Hopefully, I think I said this on the one before last. If you're listening to this in the far future, again, thank you so much, especially if you made it all the way through to the end. But hopefully it's just like the Prince Charles is safe, it's not closed, and this is all just like a bad memory. But as of right now, there is a risk of it closing. And Charlie and Dan have been really, really good at remembering every week to plug. If you can sign that signature and share it, it means a lot to us Brits over here, the Prince Charles Cinema. It's a national institution, isn't it, lads?
Yes, it is. You don't even need. I don't think you need to be living in the UK to sign it.
No.
Literally, anyone can sign it. So
but it means a lot to us as
who live in the UK and frequent. It would be great.
Maybe throwing in a bit of a bummer note, but if we're also talking about things that mean a lot to us for the first time since we last recorded, rest in peace, David Lynch.
Yes. Again, please.
I think we could possibly do a David Lynch episode very, very soon. Not to try and capitalise on the man's death at all, but just to express
he's probably the person that we could all talk about for the longest.
Yeah, David Lynch was always in the plans. Yeah.
So,
but we will sort something out.
Don't you mean Christopher Nolan, Harry?
Don't wind him up now.
I've been good. I haven't mentioned it.
No, Ollie has said. On one of the episodes, we were talking about. This is just quickly. We were talking about. We're going to talk about the MCU and Marvel film, and Ollie was like, Harry will be on that because he will have views that need to be heard and all this stuff. So
it's inevitable. We're going to have to talk about Cape shit this year. There's so many of them coming out.
Right. So anyway, let's round this up. Goodbye, Charlie.
Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye, Harry. It's good to have you back, man. And see you later, Ollie.
Bye, guys. I'm being sent to the woodshed now. I'm being taken out back like old Yeller.
Right. And listen to us next week. Bye. So this is a cheeky little epilogue for Parasite. Harry, obviously, when we first started this, we talked about missing scene, like pushing the film's story on that. But for the films or the episodes we've done, it's actually been a little bit. It's been harder than I was expecting to think of ideas, right?
Yeah.
So
writing films, man, it turns out it's really difficult.
it is really fucking
Especially
hard.
when you got dickheads like us criticising them every.
But we're lucky enough that Harry actually has.
Oh, I don't know about this.
has an idea for a missing scene. And is it an end credit?
It's an end credit scene.
It's an end credit scene for Parasite.
You are hyping up far too much what is a very dumb
just
joke.
imagine our podcast has credits. Credits of roll.
This is the missing scene's missing scene.
This is our missing scene's missing scene.
Yeah.
So Harry, take it away.
Again, you've hyped this up far too much now, but this was the idea when Dan contacted me about this. This was the idea that I had, and it's basically the first thing I thought of when I first saw Parasite. So we said it was Min, right? Is the guy from the start?
University student, yeah.
So Min is returning through an airport. He's getting his best suit on. He's picking up some balloons, some like heart-shaped balloons, some nice red flowers or whatever. Very excited, doing his tie, looking all good. He turns up at the house, the rich people's house, rings on the doorbell. Yeon Kyo, the mum who we said of the Park family, opens the door. There he is, big smile on his face. The balloons, the flowers. So what did I miss? And she just starts fucking screaming. Just absolute existential horror. Abrupt cut to black. That's all I had. But
short and sweet. That's beautiful. I like that. So good.
I can actually picture that. It's such a lovely image.
Well, thank you very much for that, Harry.
No worries.
Yeah, I hope you all enjoy that little
5 years in the making. That's
making that one. Thank you, and you'll hear us next week.